Carl Jung said it beautifully when he said that as long as you don't put lie into the unconscious, you're gonna call it destiny, right? Because it is, you're destined to live that truth over and over, that truth that is stored in the body, which is traumatic usually. You're gonna live that over and over until you decide to break the cycle by putting attention to that. And in fact, the reason, and I'm sorry I'm taking a little bit longer to answer.
No, please.
The reason why people are stuck in their pain is because they're going into it, but they're resisting it. They don't want to surrender. They don't want to surrender. And if they can only surrender and just say, you know what, this is all I gotta do is just feel, and I just gotta let whatever comes up. Yes, it's true that we're gonna feel uncomfortable emotions because that's the very pain that we're trying to avoid, right?
Supposed to be.
Yes, but in that moment, what it happens is that because you are an adult exploring this, now you can be the support that that little person inside of you, because it's always going to be an inner child, meaning a memory of you when you were a little kid when that happened. You can provide that love to that child and say, I'm here for you, you're not alone. And that's where the magic happens. For me, I remember the first time I experienced that. I had never in my life felt that kind of love before. And after that, I never felt alone again.
Wow.
After I had that first encounter with that like, I am here for you, and I think I took the perspective of the child and I felt that presence, that it was just unconditional. I just felt this love that I could say I tasted love. Up until then, I thought I was in love.
It's like, no, I'm in love with my inner child.
That was the love that I was waiting for. And it was just so beautiful. And after that, yes, I do feel loneliness here and there, but that flavor of loneliness, never again.
Absolutely.
Never again, because I knew that I was not alone. I was not alone.
And what was so illuminating for me was during our private one-on-one session where I had to connect with that inner child and with the protector, which we're gonna talk about. But it's like just witnessing the energy of the child and just sort of seeing my inner child and saying, I see your pain. I validate your pain. And I still could feel my protector coming in and be like, but it's not that bad. And then again, I feel like you have to become a little bit of your soul self and that observer where you're like taking the protector's hand and like, let's just sit this one out just for a while and let the inner child feel. And in that split second where my inner child could feel the pain, where I was like, you know what? Yeah, like this thing that happened in my childhood is wrong. And I am hurt. I am in pain. It doesn't matter that it was a soul contract with my dad or my mom or my brother or my aunts and my uncles. It fucking hurts. And I have to feel this hurt. In that moment, I felt immediate relief. Immediate relief, which I had never felt even with EFT tapping, which I think was so interesting because I'm like, oh yeah, like I've, tapped on my inner child and I've accessed this, but that energy work, I was like, wait, no, I have not. And what was interesting too is that, one of our facilitators sort of channeled the pain of the inner child in the group. And when I saw them like broke down and cry, it was exactly the way that I was neglecting me, because I saw that outside of me and I'm like, when is it going to be over? Like, when are you going to stop crying? And I remember that exercise went on for so long, and finally I softened and I went to them and I was able to like, touch them, and like that was sort of how I started to become brave enough to be like, okay, like let me soothe my inner child. But before that I was like, self-soothe yourself, like get over it, stop crying. And I realized that was how I was talking within myself. And so that was like one of the most illuminating activities, because I'm like, wow, like seeing that energy outside. And also like thank you to all the facilitators that was able to channel that energy, because to see that, to channel the collective group sadness and pain and anger, and to see how all of us reacted. And you made a really good observation. I started to move away from the circle and I was like, my back hurts, like I just want to be like against a wall. And you're like, yeah, but you did it specifically at this moment. You moved away. So I moved away from the inner child. And so now I have this awareness and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
And the thing is that even though you're like, it's not that bad and all that, the protector, the aspect of ourselves that is trying to avoid seeing the pain, it's just doing it for what is perceived as a good reason for the child. It always has a positive intention, so I don't want to make it wrong, right? And they always have a positive intention as to why. Oh, it's not that bad, or you know what, let's not focus on that, let's focus on these, things like that. They have a positive intention, so they're also meeting a need, right? What we need to do is help them, like couples therapy. Help them.
I felt like that.
It's literally what we're doing. Couples therapy inside of yourself.
It's like switching.
Right.
It's like,
a part doesn't want to go. A part wants to be healed, but a part is afraid. A part wants to go to the party. A part doesn't want to go. A part wants to eat that other. It's just that constant split, right?
Yeah.
But each one is meeting a different need. Obviously, the one that is being suppressed is the one that is being neglected, but it still wants to be known and seen, and that's why it comes up. It comes up when you're alone most of the time, because then you have full access. But in the presence of other, it's the protector that is there, right? Most of the time, unless you've done enough work to where you're more integrated or more authentic, then you'll see that. But if not, you're meeting the mask, what we call it, the protector, right? The mask, the one that gets you to survive. Yeah. But again, they're doing it for a good intention. And it's so important that we don't make them wrong, because those are the parts that carry you all the way here to adulthood. So I like to express gratitude. I like to feel gratitude because those are the ones that got me all the way here. Thanks to those aspects of myself, I survived all those years of abuse or neglect or abandonment or whatever it is, right? The pain. So I love for people to really look at that as this is our protectors, are the parts that just make it through. They're very strong, they're very valuable, and we just need to teach them how to communicate and care for the other part. It's that simple.
So for people that don't really understand, like who is the protector? Who is the suppressor? What is a fragmentation? What is a split? All that stuff. These are the shadow work
questions,
jargons.
Right? The jargons. That is correct. That is our jargons. So we call protector the part of you that at one moment, let's give an example. Let's say that you're playing, I don't know, singing, dancing, just playing, right? And you're making a little bit more noise than usual. But Daddy's sleeping in the room. And Mom comes and says, stop it. Daddy's sleeping. He's going to get upset if you continue making noises. Obviously, in that moment, the child learned something in their body. There's a reaction, right? Because what happened is just a disconnection, a disapproval, right? An emotional disapproval, which is stop playing. Stop making noise, because Dad is going to get upset and now Mom is going to get upset. So you just rupture, right? And in that moment, the child's fun, play, joy, whatever it was happening, most likely fun and play and joy, is going to be associated with trouble. I get in trouble when I play, when I have fun, when I have joy. And so the child learned to suppress that, and suppress that goes to the subconscious.
To survive.
To survive, to maintain connection, to get the approval from mother, so that father doesn't get upset, even though it's not happening yet. It's just a theory that he's going to get upset. But to maintain connection with Mom, the child modifies quickly, it splits the self. That's where the fraction happens, because in the moment you feel something in the body, usually, well, as I'm feeling it, I'm like, something like in my stomach, right? And so in that moment, if parents don't approach that correctly, could it have been approached in a different way? But most of the time, that's not what we get. We get this reaction, right? The moment the child splits, and obviously the desire to play, to have fun, to have joy goes away, because now it's associated with it is wrong to have that. And instead, I'm going to adapt to modify my behavior, my whatever that is, which is most likely stay quiet. In this case, right? Stay quiet, don't take action, or go sit on the couch, things like that. That's what we call the protector. It protected me from getting in trouble by adapting and then displaying the new behavior, the one that is approved, because this one was just made wrong. That's why we call protectors. The protector is the one that's going to take the job of keeping you safe by complying with what is requested in the moment. And so the inner child then becomes the part that you disconnected from, in this case, joy, fun, play, and it goes to the subconscious, and it's not gone forever, it's just suppressed But when you're alone and no one is there, you desire to have fun. You desire to enjoy life. You desire to have joy and pleasure and all that stuff. You know, think about it. In that moment, oh, it's just play. It seems like it's just play.
Yeah.
But when you grow up, how much you allow yourself to enjoy pleasure, not only physical, sexual, emotional, all kinds of pleasure, or even celebrating your own successes because you're not allowed to have that pleasure. I mean, it affects every area of your life, whether that is family, romantic, business, careers, health in some cases. So that's why it's so important that we go to those memories and end that and integrate the child so that we can enjoy life, have pleasure.
Yeah, because I mean, the energy has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
That's sort of like the job of the protector, is helping us adapt in situations where we feel like we have to be like this to survive. And I think one of the most powerful thing that you said too is, you know, when that facilitator was channeling our energy and you asked them like, how old are you? And they're like 3. And I mean, what you said was so simple, but it kind of blew my mind because you were like, it's normal for a 3-year-old to be soothed.
Of course.
3-year-olds don't need to self-soothe. And so my reaction of wanting them to just be like, get over it. Like, why are you crying? Was so interesting because I don't think that I was ever soothed as a child, right? So even when I went back to my memory, like what truly made me feel safe was just sitting on my dad's lap and being held.
Exactly.
And that was the moment where I felt like, wow, that's all I needed.
Yes.
You know, and it ties back to what we were talking about. Like, I never really liked physical touch because I'm like, don't touch me, like it's so uncomfortable. Like everyone in my family always knows, like, Selena hates hugs. But what I realized is I actually do like physical touch. And tell me how I shifted, like, through this retreat. And even my friend Racham, which you guys know, was like, you've never touched me this much in my entire life, in our like years of friendship. But I was just like hugging her, and I'm like, I just want to be close to you. You know what I mean? I was hugging everyone. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. I actually want physical touch, and I don't mind it. But it's a part that I guess I suppressed. Because in a way I'm like, but if you touch me, then you're getting too close, right? And also I was working on vulnerability, like being okay to feel vulnerable, and for people to see like, Selena, you're not perfect, right? Like you feel feelings, you feel emotions, and that's okay. But I never wanted people to see that, oh, I'm working through things because I just have it all together and I'm okay because I'm responsible and I'm independent and I know how to take care of myself. But it's like, no, actually, I want support. I want to be held. And that memory, like just being held by my dad, was like, wow, that's all I needed, right? And when you work on your past, like what you said, it's quantum healing because you're shifting the whole timeline of the present, the future. Like you're literally like, zzz, like everything is like changing.
Yes, exactly, which is the beauty of this. That's why whenever we really do, just by closing your eyes, you're already shifting into another dimension. And so when we stay in that dimension, it connects us as far as wherever the child is at. It's just literally quantum healing, timelines.
Timeline shifting. I thought I knew timeline shifting, but when I did this work, I was like, no, this is quantum shifting.
This is quantum healing.
So it's not just about visualizing forward, but it's like, no, let's revise that memory, like what happened, and let's have a better outcome. And that changes the timeline.
And that's why during the healing process, you also visualize the going forward, right? Because what you're doing is, yes, you're receiving the hug or you're receiving the cuddling or whatever it is, but you go into the perspective and feel it and taste it and become it, right? And so that's where it creates the magic on it. And yet again, we're doing, and literally in that moment, you're past, present, future, because in that moment you're the adult, the child, and so you're literally changing in those perspectives.
I felt that physically in my body. It was like, ooh, protector, and it's like inner child, protector, inner child, and I was like fighting within myself. And it's so interesting because my body language like shifts within seconds when I'm the protector, when I'm the inner child, when I'm the protector, and you know, our facilitator was like, you literally looked different. And my eyes were closed, and it's like the way your eyes move and everything was different. And I'm like, this is literally energy work in the body.
Because it is.